Hello and welcome to game 6 against amoffett11, and this is, I think, the most interesting kingdom of the 6 because of invest. Because of invest at the bottom here. So we'll see how to go about it. I'm learning about invest. I had it, this is what, the third time now since I started back league. This show up in a league match, and that's excellent. That's exactly where I wanted to show up. You get to learn the most when you're playing hard. All right, so investor side, we have some nice draw in stables, some nice tricks with swap and rats. Swindler looks irritating as usual. Plus buy is fortune, so maybe we get there. I don't know. And lots of extra points in gardens and fairgrounds. Now, I lead with invest. I have to explain ideas, right? My idea was that stables is the key pile in the kingdom. Both players will want it. Let me invest in it ASAP. I mean, I think you could only build something meaningful here with stables. You can't otherwise. All right, so that is my turn one. Invest in stables, right? So let's pay attention to how things go here. Amoffett gains a rats. Okay, I know what that is for. Swap and rats work very well together. And I get a swindler. This swindler is a little dubious. They just bought a rats, for example. So I might hit rats and give them a free card. We open with shelters. I might hit a shelter and just trash it for them. Maybe gladiator is a better open because it has a higher chance of gaining the extra money because of all the shelters as well. Anyways, Amoffett gets swindler themselves. I get a rat here. And so far things seem to be okay for me. I lose my swindler here, but again, how bad is that? No. Here we see some more investment. Amoffett invests in stables. It does trigger a shuffle for me here, but I don't care that much. I don't care that much. Quick inspection of the log leads me to realize that amoffett played the necropolis actually. So a guaranteed trash of the gladiator will come from revealing necropolis. I mean, it doesn't matter here because I have enough money anyway. I have more than enough money to do anything that I want. But trashing the gladiator might be important to get to fortune as soon as possible. So I get a swap. Now, ordinarily, I would have bought her stables in that position, but I shy away from these stables because Amoffett has invested in it. And I want a swap anyway with all these rats. Now, I have 2 rats in the deck. You have to manage your rat population. Okay, so now Amoffett has invested in stables. For a second time, I believe. I wasn't sure if they did that, but they did that. Swap doesn't show up with anything. That's fine. 5. All right, so here is now where things start to go a little bit funny. I'm hiding from the stables, obviously. I choose to buy count instead to trash quickly. And this is critical because we'll see. They invest in swap as well. I don't like that, so I will also invest in swap. Swap seems like a good pile to invest in as well. You don't want them to just start switching rats into swaps and cleaning up the deck like that. I would like some advantage if you want to do that. So I invest in swap. So now we have stables and swap invested for both of us, which is fine. They have 6 and they go for a swap. So they give me 2 cards, right? I mean, they need it. They have much more rats than I do. So that's fine for them. I change this rats for a raise, which also trashes. And then I use the counter mass trash. Now, that is a little bit sus. A little bit suspicious because so yeah, they gain stables here. A key part of the invest mind game or sub game, mini game, whatever you want to call it, is the draw two part for your opponent. Again, I banned it here because I'm trying to play now without stables and swaps at all. And the way I see to do that is play with bandit, fill up your deck with gold, and buy provinces. I missed here that Amoffett had taken their stables out of exile. So I played most of this game under the impression that they still had their investment in stables, which is bad, obviously. And this, what I did here, is particularly bad. Take a look. My deck is now 5 cards. Swindler proof, yes. But there's no punishment for Amoffett if they gain cards from the piles that I've invested in. By trashing so much, I've made my investment useless, actually useless. And they capitalize on that here. Look, a lot of these rats get swapped back into swaps and stables. And I get absolutely no benefit from it. So these invest decks, there needs to be some kind of penalty for your opponent if they buy one of the cards you've invested in. Right? Here, because it's so thin, the 2 cards, there's no 2 cards to draw. But I mean, even if there are 2 cards to draw, your deck has to go from, outputting 10 on a turn to like 12 or 13 on a turn because of the extra 2 cards. And that is a penalty that they have to pay. So that is the idea here. Amoffett gets a conquest, which is fine. They have lots of stables. They need the treasure. So now they'll just build up a little bit here. Not a little bit, a lot. They get a lot of stables and a lot of swaps for free, basically. And they control the rest of this game to perfection, which is good because it gives me time to think and talk about invest. Right, so we were talking about the penalty that the opponent has to incur for getting cards from the invested pile. Right, ideally it should scale, right? If they gain 2, the penalty should double or, more, at least double. Right, so what that penalty translates to is dependent on the deck. Maybe it's an extra gain, maybe it's an extra buy, maybe it's an extra money. But the fact that the extra cards will do that for you means that you were not making full use of your deck in ordinary circumstances, which is a kind of weird thing to say for Dominion, because a big part of the game is getting your deck under control, drawing through the deck. But here you have a card like Invest, which says, maybe you don't want to have the best deck that you can build. Maybe you want to leave a little leeway so that if your opponent decides to go after your investment, they get punished a little bit for it. I don't know, it's very strange to me. I still haven't figured out this invest card very well. And you see here still, like, Amoffett is swapping between the rats and stables without penalty. I mean, my deck isn't doing much. My actions are being turned into duchies. At this point, I think I just start on the provinces because there is nothing else to do for me at this point. I was still playing under the impression that stables and swaps were exiled. Up to now, I don't know when their swap came out of exile, but it did at some point, which is bad. I need to pay more attention with the invest card, especially given how it warps the game a little bit in a unique way, Well, not unique in the sense of the cards, but in the sense of, certain piles being taboo. Because cards that draw like Lost City and council room, you get it anyway, and you don't really care because the upside for you is much more than the upside for them. Oh, fortune for amoffett. That's very good. That'll let them win the game, basically. I could get one here with the count even, but I said, no, well, let me just try the provinces. I still have some small chances. I think they have a lot of stables. And there is the infamous stables brick, which is the hand of 5 stables. Could happen. You know, that happens sometimes. So maybe it happens. Maybe I get enough provinces. Who knows? That's really all I'm holding out for. The swindler, I don't care for what it does, honestly. 27 and 2 buys. I mean, maybe at this point they could have considered another fortune just for the buy. Not often you want to do that. So look here, for example, I could have returned this bandit and picked up our stables, but I didn't know. Here another opportunity that I have to win. Again, this is very slim fractions of percentages, I feel. If my bandit hits their fortune, that's good for me, because then they could only buy 1 province. And they are, refilling the gladiators here. And then if they want the fortune back, they'll have to go back, buy it, maybe go into debt, Give me a turn, maybe. But I do not hit the fortune. I mean, I didn't expect to hit the fortune, but that is the only opportunity that I have to win this game. So it's not like totally done here. They get province and duchy here, which is the correct thing to do. There's no way for me to gain 2 provinces, so just don't even risk the hand of 5 stables. I gain a duchy from my count, buy the last province, and hope to see the hand of 5 stables. It's not what it looks like. So the match finishes 3-3, which is okay for our first outing in C. This last game, okay, we did nonsense. The game with the black market, I don't feel too bad about that. I think they just pulled good things out of the black market. The game before this with the catapult, I could have thought a little bit more about it, but I'm not sure. The first player was good there, and amoffett capitalized on it well. That's all. So hopefully we continue at least as good as this. I don't want to demote from C, but we'll see. If you just want to play good Dominion. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.